आया क्या? Good evening, friends, and here we go. We are just about to start Singapore Grand Prix. All the cars are lined up, and as the last car comes on the track, we are all set for Singapore Grand Prix to start off. आया क्या? As all the cars gets lined up and 5 lights go
Good
off,
evening,
and
friends,
Singapore
and here
Grand
we
Prix
go.
has started. We are just about to start Singapore Grand Prix. All the cars are lined up, and as the last car
It's a
comes on the
beautiful
track,
start for,
we are
and
all
we
set
have an
for
accident
Singapore
right in the
Grand Prix
beginning.
to start off.
We have an accident right in the beginning to one of the Ferraris. It will be very interesting to see which Ferrari has collided. Ferrari and Red Bull, both of them have collided. And it brings Sebastian Vettel. Sebastian Vettel was the one who got collided with Max Verstappen. And he's again facing the way around. He turns the car around and he joins back. This happens something like he won the world championship way back in 3 years back, or 4 years back precisely, in Brazil, when he was turning upside down on the other side. And Kimi Raikkonen is out. So, very bad start for Ferrari and Red Bulls. The first lap mishap which happened. Great start it was for Max Verstappen, and then he collided. It was pity, very pity for Red Bull and Ferraris. It was great start for Kimi Raikkonen, and he came around with Max Verstappen and collided with Sebastian Vettel and Max Verstappen. The race, which started on wet tires, and Kimi Raikkonen comes from nowhere and collides with Sebastian Vettel. Max Verstappen also gets collided, and there was a completely mishap between the cars. What a poor start it was. And visibility is pretty bad. It's carnage at right in the beginning. Still to see how many cars have damage and what exactly has happened, but it's a poor start. All the cars are back in the pit after the first lap mishap which happened. Fernando Alonso also, he was also the part of the accident, with a complete carnage right in the first lap. This is something turning out to be amazing race right in the beginning. As the car is brought back in for Sebastian Vettel, all the cars are in the pit, as there is a complete carnage and cars have to go around from the pits. With Lewis Hamilton in the lead now after the first lap carnage which happened. What a way to start the World Championship contendership for Sebastian Vettel in this race. Max Verstappen is out right up the first lap. It's very disappointed start for Singapore Grand Prix. It's still the safety car. As the Sebastian Vettel car being towed back to the pits. Because of this accident, Lewis Hamilton is in the lead. It went all in favor of Mercedes here. As the debris are getting cleared, we look forward for racing once again. Hamilton has gone to intermediate tires now, followed by Daniel Ricciardo, who is in second position. As all the cars are passing through the pit lane and behind the safety car, as the marshals clearing the debris at turn 1. What a carnage right in the beginning. All the cars still behind the safety car, as Hamilton leads with Ricciardo in second position, Nico Hülkenberg in third, Sergio Perez fourth, Valtteri Bottas in fifth position, Jolyon Palmer is sixth, Stoffel Vandoorne seventh, Esteban Ocon eighth, ninth Carlos Sainz and 10th Kevin Magnussen. Alonso in 12th place. it is clearly been seen that Vettel had lost all his control by himself after the first corner, and he had crashed with Kimi Räikkönen and Max Verstappen. It's drama everywhere. What a turn of event which has happened. So, summing up, Lewis Hamilton is leading from Daniel Ricciardo and Nico Hülkenberg and Sergio Perez. Sergio Perez started 12th and he's in 4th position now. Devastation for Ferrari, nightmare for Ferrari here. As the safety car is still on the track, Lewis Hamilton is in the lead, and it's a blessing in disguise for Lewis Hamilton, where the car was not very strong, but he made his way up and he seems to be in very strong position now to win this race. And what a place, what a time for this carnage to happen in favor of Lewis Hamilton. As we are completing lap 3 of 61 of this Formula 1 2017 season, safety car should be coming out in this lap and we should go green flag once again. As the rain is still falling in Singapore, it's very interesting race which is turning out to be now. We are in lap 5 of 61 and the race had started after all the carnage which happened in the first lap itself. Singapore Grand Prix, which never had the rain before, it's a place, or is it today the Grand Prix which everybody was waiting for Sebastian Vettel to deliver, and what a carnage happened right in the first lap. Valtteri Bottas in other Mercedes is at 6th place with both the Ferraris out in the first lap. There is still a bit of debris on the track which needs to be cleared. That's some of the drivers are complaining about.
As we head towards lap number 7, Lewis Hamilton leads comfortably now to Daniel Ricciardo, who is in second position, Nico Hulkenberg in Renault in third position, Sergio Perez, Force India fourth, Jolyon Palmer, other Renault, is in fifth position, Valtteri Bottas sixth position, Stoffel Vandoorne of McLaren is in seventh, Esteban Ocon, other Force India, in eighth, ninth Carlos Sainz, and 10th Kevin Magnussen. Fernando Alonso is running with a damaged car. At some point of time, he needs to be retiring his car. I'm sure about that. Sergio Perez is the one of the winner at the start, where he started 12th on the grid and is now 4th. As we reach to lap number 8 of 61, Lewis Hamilton leads Singapore Grand Prix. So here Lance Stroll is being chased by Felipe Massa, his other teammate. As we see the battle down the order, with 17 cars running, 3 cars are out, which are Sebastian Vettel, Kimi Raikkonen, both Ferraris, and Max Verstappen of Red Bull. and knack of seconds, Carlos Sainz for Toro Rosso overtakes Esteban Ocon. Nice move he made. And here Fernando Alonso comes to the pits and his car needs to be retired. A pity for McLaren. Alonso has become the victim of the first lap carnage which happened, and he has to retire his car. So Alonso car retires. So sadly Alonso is out. As the lap 9 completes, and Lewis Hamilton still in the lead with 5.6 second gap between him and Ricciardo. Nico Hülkenberg in third. And here we have an accident once again. Daniel Kvyat banks into the barrier. Kvyat was 11th position. What did he do? Let's see what happened. So Daniel Kvyat, the next casualty, 9th lap running. Safety car is being deployed once again.
as cars have a flurry to come back in the pits and have a change of tires. Force India does it. Red Bull, Daniel Ricciardo does the tire change as the safety car is deployed. Now both Ricciardo and Perez are on the fresher intermediates as they come into the pits. With this, Hülkenberg is second position now. Lewis Hamilton leading the pack behind the safety car, lap 11. As Esteban Ocon and Magnussen meanwhile have both switched from full wet to intermediates also. It was seen that Daniel Kvyat has snatched a braking into turn number 7 and he went straight into the wall. Lewis Hamilton seems to be in control of the proceedings now. As the drivers are still behind the safety cars, Nico Hülkenberg also pits from P2 and his teammate Jolyon Palmer is stacking up behind Nico Hülkenberg. Both are fitted with the fresh intermediates now, and this promotes Ricciardo back to P2 and Bottas up to P3 now. Carlos Sainz is in 4th position for Toro Rosso, with Nico Hülkenberg now in 5th position, Sergio Perez 6th, followed by Jolyon Palmer 7th, 8th Lance Stroll, Stoffel Vandoorne 9th, and 10th Felipe Massa. As Felipe Massa tries to take a look at Stoffel Vandoorne to overtake, Stoffel Vandoorne doesn't give him any room whatsoever. And there has been a lot of damage on the wall, on the safety barriers, which marshals are getting to repair that as soon as possible and the race can start. as Lewis Hamilton has not stopped for tire change. It seems to be he is going to come under pressure as soon as the light goes green once again from Daniel Ricciardo, who has got fresher tires now. This was a dramatic start where carnage happened in the first lap itself. Hamilton is very worried now because he is the only one who has not changed the tires. As the Daniel Kvyat car being craned away, hopefully we'll be racing once again very soon. As we go to lap 14, still the safety car is in. As the cars are getting aligned themselves in the positions. Daniel Ricciardo is keeping Lewis Hamilton busy all the time, just pipping the car just behind him. As the safety car remains on the track. Lewis Hamilton is leading during this period. Ricciardo is second with 1 second gap. Bottas, Sainz, Hülkenberg, Perez, Palmer, Stroll, Van Dorn, Massa completes the top 10. And now it's the green light. So we start racing once again. Lewis Hamilton has a clean start and is pulling away the lead with Daniel Ricciardo behind him, but he's going to have a challenge. Whereas the other McLaren is pretty strong now for Stoffel Van Dorn. as Stoffel Van Dorn tries to find a way past Lance Stroll. Lewis Hamilton still leading the race, but he has to make a pit stop. Bottas is in third position. He is being chased by Carlos Sainz, and behind him is Nico Hülkenberg in Renault. Massa and Pascal Wehrlein are the two only drivers who are still on the wet tires, as Stoffel Van Dorn tries to take a look on Lance Stroll. Now Massa is struggling with his full wet tires. He needs to come in the pits and change his tires pretty soon. He and Pascal Wehrlein are the only two drivers who are still with the wet tires. Carlos Sainz is sitting pretty in P4 and he's ahead of Nico Hülkenberg and Sergio Perez. Palmer is just behind him with Lance Stroll, and he's also been 10 places up from the grid slot P8. In the meantime, Kevin Magnussen makes a way past Esteban Ocon of Force India. In the meantime, Roman Grosjean also gets past Felipe Massa. As Magnussen tries to overtake Roman Grosjean now. Race being led by Lewis Hamilton. We are in lap 16 with 2.7 second gap between him and Daniel Ricciardo. Bottas is sitting in third position, Carlos Sainz fourth, Nico Hülkenberg fifth, Sergio Perez sixth, followed by Jolyon Palmer, Lance Stroll, Stoffel Van Dorn and Roman Grosjean in 10th place. Lewis Hamilton and Daniel Ricciardo are pretty close now. And definitely it will be difficult for Lewis Hamilton to hold off Daniel Ricciardo, as Daniel Ricciardo is on the fresh set of tires. And now finally Massa has entered the pits for intermediates, and he will come in the last position as a result of this. Lap 18, Lewis Hamilton has a gap of just about 3 seconds, and Bottas another 6 seconds down in the third position. Carlos Sainz for Toro Rosso is in 4th position, Nico Hülkenberg in Renault in 5th position, 6th position Sergio Perez, Force India, Jolyon Palmer for another Renault, 7th position, Lance Stroll 8th, Stoffel Vandoorne of McLaren 9th position, with Roman Grosjean in 10, completes the last point scoring position. In the meantime, Lewis Hamilton sets a fastest lap in 2 minutes 1.1 seconds. As we go to lap number 20 of 61, what a race we had right from the beginning, where we had the first lap carnage which took away both the Ferraris and Max Verstappen of Red Bull, with the error of Vettel leading to this carnage. Alonso, with heavy damages, still managed to continue, but sooner or later he had to stop. Eventually he also retired his car. In the meantime, Stoffel Van Dam moves past Lance Stroll of Williams and is up to P8. Good outing for Esteban Ocon. Also, he is in 12th place after all the first lap carnage which happened. And McLaren did really good from Stoffel Van Dam. Nico Hülkenberg, he is in 5th place now, as Lewis Hamilton must be itching that track gets dry quickly so that he can have his chance to change his tires, or else he will surely lose out heavily. So Lewis Hamilton at the end of lap 21 leads the Singapore Grand Prix. Ricciardo sitting in 2nd position, Valtteri Bottas in 3rd position. Lewis Hamilton has pulled the gap to about 4.2 seconds from Daniel Ricciardo, and he is still on the intermediate tires. Track is all dried up except the last corner before we come to the start finish straight. As of now, no more rain expected. It's going to take some time for the track to dry up. As Valtteri Bottas also continues on green wall tires, wet tires. and still the gap between Lewis Hamilton and Daniel Ricciardo is steady at 4.5 seconds. Bottas further 12 seconds down from Daniel Ricciardo. Carlos Sainz and Nico Hülkenberg are pretty close. Also Sergio Perez and Palmer, which has separated all of them about 5 seconds between them. There are still some damp patches on the track, and this track doesn't have a very good drainage facility. If you see, most of the track is dry. However, there are some patches on the track where the water is still there. Here we go. First of the Haas comes in the track and does the brave move. Who is this? Kevin Magnussen. Let's see which tires he takes on. This will be very interesting to see, and it will trigger the pit stops for all the cars. It'll be very interesting for Kevin Magnussen now. Comes there. Yes. A very brave decision. Blue sidewall tires goes on Kevin Magnussen Haas car. Let's see what he does now. He's going to join back in 13th position. Purple sidewall tires. Felipe Massa comes in. He also changes his tire. Very interesting to see now. Both were back markers and they have changed the tires. Even 1 or 2 laps they get. It's going to be very interesting for both the drivers. Sector 2 is the most slippery area on this track, so it will be interesting to see how Haas and Felipe Massa negates the turns and the track in Sector 2 especially. In the meantime, Ricciardo has been dropped to 6.8 second gap from Lewis Hamilton. Lewis Hamilton sets up the fastest lap of the race. First time below 2 minutes, 1 minute 59 seconds. With Kevin Magnussen and Felipe Massa both on ultra soft tires now. As Lewis Hamilton comes behind Felipe Massa. As Lewis Hamilton gets his way past Felipe Massa, who had to give the position as he is being lapped down. We are in lap 26 of 61 of the Singapore Grand Prix. Lewis Hamilton leading the race as he goes past the start finish line once more. Lap number 27. And it's very interesting that pace of slick tires is lesser than what are the intermediate tires with all the cars in the field except for Felipe Massa and Kevin Magnussen. And here Lance Stroll also pits and he comes out with purple walled slick tires. In the meantime, Lewis Hamilton gets another faster lap of the race, 1 minute 59.38 seconds. Now Red Bull gets ready for Daniel Ricciardo. Sorry, it's Toro Rosso. They get ready for Carlos Sainz. He comes in the pits. Smooth pit stop. Tire gets changed. Stoffel Vandoorne also comes in pits for his change of tires. Purple sidewall goes bit of slow and there is a mishap. Stoffel Vandoorne very slow pit stop. He lost almost 2 seconds. Now everybody is changing over to slick tires. Esteban Ocon comes here, changes over. Roman Grosjean also in the pits for tire change. In the meantime, Kevin Magnussen, he gets the fastest lap of the race and he's just next to other Haas car of Roman Grosjean. Kevin Magnussen, he is in 10th position now. And now Daniel Ricciardo, very interesting pit stop. Let's see what Daniel Ricciardo does in this pit stop. Smooth pit stop, changes the tire, comes back on the track. 2.4 seconds stationary for Daniel Ricciardo. Bottas also pits. Also a pretty smooth pit stop for Valtteri Bottas. Lewis Hamilton in the meantime gets another fastest lap of the race. Hülkenberg is coming in and now the race leader comes in. Lewis Hamilton comes in the pits and gets his tire change. Sorry, that was Valtteri Bottas. So Valtteri Bottas comes out of the pits after the tire change. Lewis Hamilton is still to do the tire change. It will be interesting where he finds himself on the track after he completes a pit stop. So Daniel Ricciardo comes back in third position. Another fastest lap from Kevin Magnussen now. Lewis Hamilton still to stop for the tire change. And now the race leader Lewis Hamilton comes in the pits. Smooth pit stop. No problems whatsoever. 2.5 seconds stationary. Comes back in the track. And let's see where he joins on the track. Comes out safely as Felipe Massa gets the fastest lap of the race. So Lewis Hamilton comes out safely in P1. So no position changes. Lewis Hamilton P1, Daniel Ricciardo second position, Valtteri Bottas in third position, Nico Hülkenberg in fourth, Carlos Sainz fifth, Sergio Perez sixth, Jolyon Palmer seventh, Kevin Magnussen eighth, Lance Stroll ninth, Stoffel Vandoorne was in 8th position, Kevin Magnussen is 10th position, completes the top 10. Sergio Perez is chasing now Carlos Sainz, who is in 5th position, and Stoffel Vandoorne also chasing Jolyon Palmer in 7th position. And there has been a side by side for Stoffel Vandoorne, tries to overtake Jolyon Palmer. He is not able to do it. It was very close, and he is going to try once again. Stoffel Vandoorne in McLaren. So now Ricciardo can only do one thing and keep putting pressure on Lewis Hamilton and let him make a mistake. Otherwise this race is in the bags of Lewis Hamilton. Felipe Massa in the meantime got another faster lap of the race. Ericsson is on the soft tires whereas Carlos Sainz is on super soft. Rest all the drivers are on ultra soft tires. Lewis Hamilton gets the fastest lap of the race, 1 minute 52 seconds. We are in lap 32 of 61. This time around, Esteban Ocon Sergio Perez tries to go around once again around Carlos Sainz, but doesn't find his way past. As Sergio Perez still looks to overtake Carlos Sainz with blue flags waving for Pascal Wehrlein car. He gets aside and Sergio Perez gets right behind Carlos Sainz, tries to overtake him. He is on the start finish straight. Let's see with DRS open, is he able to do it? No, he cannot. Very difficult track to do any kind of overtaking here. And this time around, Perez is very close to Carlos Sainz, but Carlos Sainz doesn't make any mistake, which allows Sergio Perez to overtake him. This is the battle which is going for 5th position. As the position stands after lap 34, Lewis Hamilton leading, Daniel Ricciardo in 2nd position, 9.5 second gap. Valtteri Bottas with another 8 second gap behind Daniel Ricciardo in 3rd position. 4th, Nico Hülkenberg of Renault. And in the meantime, Magnussen is being passed by Esteban Ocon of Force India. Esteban Ocon moves to 11th position. Carlos Sainz is in 5th position. Sergio Perez of Force India in 6th. Jolyon Palmer Renault in 7th position. 8th position for Stoffel Vandoorne of McLaren, lone McLaren, as Fernando Alonso had retired due to the damages he suffered from the accident which happened in the lap 1. Lance Stroll in 9th position and completes final point scoring position of 10th with Roman Grosjean in Haas. As we go to lap number 36 of 61, Lewis Hamilton still leads and leads comfortably from Daniel Ricciardo with a gap of about 9 seconds and keeping it steady at that level. Then there is a big difference between him and Valtteri Bottas with almost 16-second gap between both of them. Nico Hülkenberg is in 4th position, followed by Carlos Sainz of Toro Rosso, Sergio Perez in 6th, Force India, 7th, Jolyon Palmer of Renault, 8th position, Stoffel Vandoorne for McLaren, Lance Stroll in Williams, 9th, followed by last position for the points, Roman Grosjean in Haas car in 10th position. As predicted, the race distance will be shortened by about 2 laps due to the time loss, as 2 hours is the limit where the race can run. So possibly the race will end in lap number 59. As we go to lap number 36, Lewis Hamilton leads comfortably the Singapore Grand Prix. Lewis Hamilton maintaining a gap of about 9 seconds from the leader. Daniel Ricciardo in second position, 16 seconds gap from third position Valtteri Bottas. This race nicely set up for Mercedes as the destiny arrived. First lap collisions between Vettel and Max Verstappen and Kimi Raikkonen. All three drivers were out in the first lap, with both the Mercedes had gained the advantage because of this, and now comfortably both the Mercedes are on the podium. In the meantime, Marcus Ericsson there is a yellow flag in sector 2, with Marcus Ericsson expected to have problems in his car. And he's probably touched the barriers. Yeah, he does. So Marcus Ericsson in trouble, and it brings the safety car on the track once again. And it closes the field up. Gives a good chance for Daniel Ricciardo and Valtteri Bottas to chase out Hamilton. Daniel Ricciardo will give all his heart out now to get position in the remaining part of the race. Massa goes for another pit stop, changes tires. Lewis Hamilton is clear of Ricciardo by 19 seconds, but that should be leveling out once the safety car period gets over, as Lewis Hamilton picks the safety car right behind the safety car, with Valtteri Bottas behind him. Top three cars. Is deployed once again, courtesy Kevin Magnussen. Sorry, Marcus Ericsson. As the Singapore Grand Prix comes to lap number 39, Lewis Hamilton leads behind the safety car. This is going to bunch up the field right back, with Ricciardo will have all chances to fight with Lewis Hamilton. We are waiting for the race to restart once again behind the safety car. This has played back very interestingly in favor of Daniel Ricciardo, who after the safety car gets over will be very close behind Lewis Hamilton and give him all fight. For the podium position, as Marcus Ericsson car waits to be removed from the track. As the cars are getting ready behind the safety car, getting the temperatures up, Daniel Ricciardo punching up behind Lewis Hamilton, Valtteri Bottas behind Daniel Ricciardo. All three of them have a realistic chance of winning this race now. What a first lap carnage it was, where Vettel had collided with Kimi Raikkonen and Max Verstappen, hitting them. Fernando Alonso also come through and hits them. Big loss for Sebastian Vettel at the start of the race, as he loses the lead to Lewis Hamilton. And if Lewis Hamilton wins this, there's going to be 28 points lead and going to be very difficult for Sebastian Vettel to pose a challenge to Lewis Hamilton for the World Championship. As the safety car is getting ready to come out from the track, should be about one more lap. We are already in lap 38 now. Lewis Hamilton is complaining that safety car is going very slow, which is making it very difficult for keeping the temperatures up in the tires. as 27 minutes are balanced for this Grand Prix, and surely this is not going to go to lap 61. We should be having 3 or 4 laps shorter this race this time around. As Lewis Hamilton, all the drivers are getting ready, safety car is out and we have green flags. So we are racing once again after the brief safety car period. As Daniel Ricciardo is being chased by Valtteri Bottas. All cars are bunching up one behind each other to get the track position. This is the best time to do that. As Carlos Sainz in Toro Rosso is in 4th position, followed by Sergio Perez. And here Renault is losing. He lost a position. Nico Hülkenberg. He is in 10th position now. And he's being chased by Esteban Ocon for the final point from this race. Ricciardo is already 1.6 seconds behind Hamilton, so Hamilton is pulling out well. Bottas is another 1.1 seconds behind Daniel Ricciardo. Carlos Sainz is holding on 4th position, though he's in big attack by Sergio Perez in Force India behind him. But he manages to hold on his 4th position. So we are in a time race situation with 24 minutes to go for the race to get completed, which will effectively about 12 laps more. Kevin Magnussen goes off the track but manages to keep the car safe and comes back, joins the track. Lewis Hamilton in the meantime gets a fastest lap of the race, 1 minute 47.133 seconds, with 22 minutes to go for the Singapore Grand Prix to get over. Bottas is just about 1 second behind Daniel Ricciardo. Lewis Hamilton has done well. He's pulled up already 3.5 second gap between him and Daniel Ricciardo. As we go to last 21 minutes of this race, Lewis Hamilton leading comfortably from Daniel Ricciardo, who is under threat from Valtteri Bottas. Just about 1 second gap between him and Valtteri Bottas. Track conditions have improved well and DRS is available now to the drivers. This will be very significant to make a move on the drivers in front. With 20 minutes to go in Singapore Grand Prix, Lewis Hamilton leading lap number 44 with car number 44 for Lewis Hamilton too. Lewis Hamilton, Daniel Ricciardo, Valtteri Bottas, Carlos Sainz, Sergio Perez, Jolyon Palmer, Stoffel Vandoorne, Lance Stroll, Roman Grosjean and Nico Hülkenberg completing top 10 in this race. And suddenly Daniel Ricciardo has started flying. He's brought the gap to just 1.7 seconds. Is there a problem with Lewis Hamilton Mercedes? As the gap has come down to 1.7 seconds. We have still about 19 minutes to go and Daniel Ricciardo has pulled out right in time to have a go at Lewis Hamilton. This will be very interesting to see what Daniel Ricciardo can do. He's definitely flying now. Whereas Stoffel Vandoorne is in 7th position and is giving a tough fight to Jolyon Palmer. With 16 minutes to go, Lewis Hamilton is leading Daniel Ricciardo with 2.5 seconds gap, with 1 second gap further from Daniel Ricciardo to Valtteri Bottas in third position. Race is getting settled between top 3 drivers, with Lewis Hamilton comfortably in P1, followed by Daniel Ricciardo in P2 and P3 for Valtteri Bottas. Carlos Sainz in strong 4th place with 5 second gap between Bottas and himself. With just about 4 seconds covering top 4 and 4 seconds covering position 8 to 14, it's all to play for in the last 14 minutes of this Grand Prix, Singapore Grand Prix at Marina Bay Circuit. Hamilton and Ricciardo. Hamilton is maintaining about 2 seconds gap, with further Ricciardo and Bottas is having 3 second gaps. And here German Nico Hülkenberg comes back in the pits, retires his car. Agony over for Nico Hülkenberg in this race. With 7 drivers already out of the race, Nico Hülkenberg, Renault, the latest casualty, Marcus Ericsson from Sauber, Daniel Kvyat, Toro Rosso, Fernando Alonso, McLaren, Sebastian Vettel and Kimi Raikkonen, both Ferraris. Red Bull, Max Verstappen are out. 13 drivers on the racetrack, with Lewis Hamilton leading lap number 48, 2.3 seconds clear of Daniel Ricciardo in second position. Third position with Valtteri Bottas pretty much settled down for podium positions. Looks like now Kevin Magnussen in trouble. He's been instructed to slow down. Problem with the engine. Kevin Magnussen, another Haas car. As we have 10 minutes to go in this race, we'll look for another retirement. It's been a rotten luck for German, who got his 7th DNF of this race, as Lewis Hamilton, strongly in P1, seems to be all set to take the Grand Prix victory. With this win, Hamilton gets his strong position in the Drivers' Championship, with Bottas now closing just 15 points from Sebastian Vettel. With 8 minutes to go, Lewis Hamilton is all set to take another Grand Prix victory and solidify his position in Driver World Championship. Carlos Sainz is still keeping Sergio Perez behind him with 2 seconds gap, and all are set to be finishing in top 10 position. Not much changes expected, as all have a decent gap between them, except for 9th, 10th and 11th position, where they are separated by just about 2 seconds. Bottas has gained in last 2 laps and trying to come close to Daniel Ricciardo. With just 5 minutes to go for the Singapore Grand Prix to get over. Bottas takes off another half a second from Daniel Ricciardo in this lap. With 4 minutes to go, that means 2 laps to go to finish this race. Here Ricciardo is going to be getting his 4th consecutive podium in Singapore. As we possibly go to the penultimate lap of the race, Valtteri Bottas picks up another 1/10 of the second from Daniel Ricciardo. And fight for the 4th is getting heated up, as Sainz, Perez and Palmer separated by 4 seconds between them. In the meantime, Lewis Hamilton is all set, which could be the last lap of the race, with 2 minutes remaining for this race to end. And we look forward for this lap to be the last lap of the Singapore Grand Prix, and Lewis Hamilton is all set to win this Singapore Grand Prix here. So race is going to finish in lap 56. This will be the last lap of the race, as just about 1 minute to go for this race to get over. Daniel Ricciardo all set for his 4th consecutive podium finish in Singapore, whereas he is not able to step up on the top rung of the podium, and this year has not been the different for him, as Lewis Hamilton comes around, start finish straight, which could be the last lap as 40 seconds to go, and Lewis Hamilton sets a new track record for this Singapore Grand Prix here. Fastest lap of the race. With 2 laps to go now, Hamilton claims the fastest lap. So now the time has touched 2 minutes or 2 hours in the Singapore Grand Prix, and this could be the last lap of the race, as Lewis Hamilton goes to the lap number 56. Carlos Sainz is running in a very strong 4th position, with Sergio Perez challenging him, but doesn't seem to be posing a real threat to Sergio from Palmer or Sergio to Sainz. So Lewis Hamilton is all set for moving 28 points lead in World Championship, Driver Championship this year, as he goes around the last sector, which is the lap 57 of the race, with a comfortable gap of 4.6 seconds between him and Daniel Ricciardo. Hamilton moves to the final lap of the race. So last lap for Singapore Grand Prix underway, as Lewis Hamilton starts off the last lap, and he would like to set up the fastest time yet another time in the Singapore Grand Prix, which has all kinds of action which we have seen throughout this 57 laps during the race, with first lap carnage which happened. It's all about a straightforward race there on for Lewis Hamilton to win here. And this time around, Lewis Hamilton is moving around in the last sector of the race for getting a victory here in Singapore Grand Prix. Hamilton wins the Singapore Grand Prix. And he has won all the Grand Prix since the summer break. Ricciardo comes home second, Bottas rounds off third position, for the podium. And this brings Carlos Sainz to his best ever finish in this race. And Van Dorn has probably overtaken, getting his 6th position, overtaking Jolyon Palmer. We'll just face the confirmation on that. So Palmer has pulled out in the last lap and he gets 6th position. So this brings out Lewis Hamilton winning in Singapore Grand Prix with positions being swapped by Jolyon Palmer, who comes home 6th in this race. With this, I would like to take a sign off. Thank you very much all my friends around the world to watch this Singapore Grand Prix live podcast from your host Naresh from Autocars India. What a race this has been right from the word go when the first lap carnage did happen, and it was the race to lose from Lewis Hamilton, who maintained in a perfect way, and he wins this Singapore Grand Prix.